Hello, beautiful people. It's a nice autumn morning in October, and I thought I'd bring you a video. Okay, so today we're going to be speaking about portfolios and showing your work and CVs. Let's get into it. Hey, how's it going? So I'm currently out on a walk. I like to go for a walk regularly, usually in the morning, so I can get it done and then start my day well. But I was thinking of a few things that I thought it'd be worth sharing with you, and it might help somebody. Somebody sent me someone's CV, and the CV looked impressive. And the person who sent it to me said, "Oh, is there anything you can help this person with in terms of maybe helping them with getting a job or some experience, that sort of thing?" I thought, okay. I mean, I do have a startup that I'm working on, so I brought it to my management team and said, look at this CV. CV could be good for maybe some of our social media stuff or podcasts or maybe some of our content writing. And my team were like, yeah, it looks impressive, but I'd like to see a portfolio, like what this person can do. And then it kind of showed me that, you know what, nowadays it's not just about having a brilliant looking CV. Yes, a CV that summarizes your experience is important and helpful, but it may not be enough. What's even better and more convincing than a CV is being able to show your work. Now, I get for some careers it's a bit more difficult to show your work in a sense, but it's not impossible. Um, for this, I mean, we're a tech company at the essence, so for this role, there are a lot of things that, or for his CV, there are a lot of things that he could actually show as evidence of the kind of things he could do. And I also realized that we weren't even looking at his qualifications in terms of degrees. Yes, they look impressive, but for us, it's more what can this person do? What value can they add, regardless of whether they have a CV or not. It would be very useful if we had more information about some of the things the guy said he had done um, on his CV, just maybe some pictures or some videos just illustrating some of the stuff he can do and he had done. I thought that would go a long way. Um, so, what I'm going to do with this guy is just contact him and say, okay, your CV looks impressive, but can you put together a portfolio of things that you've done and relate to your experiences? And even more brilliantly, if you can put links to them directly in the CV, that'd be great. If not, send us even if it's a Google Drive with just, or a Google Docs document that has these details. It'd be useful to see those things. So we'll see how that goes. But then, it then got me thinking as well. There's another person who I got to know who is really good in terms of illustration. So he loves drawing sort of manga and a few other things, and he's done a bit of work in terms of, for example, he's designed an album cover for an artist, and he really enjoyed the process, and he's looking to do more work in this area. But again, for him, it was a case of, okay, show me what you can do. And it took a while, but then he said he had examples of stuff he'd done on different social media sites. And I then thought to myself, okay, if I'm going to introduce him to people who could be interested in the work he's done, they would absolutely need to see a portfolio of things he has done, so they can see what they'll be getting. So I sent him a message this morning just asking him to do a few things. Also, just a few things to bear in mind. So create a new page. Since you have a particular thing you're focusing on, which is your artwork, create a page. It could be on a social media site. It could be on a separate portfolio site. And you can find many of these sites online. Many of them you could even use for free. But find a place where you can put everything. You could put maybe your best work or even sometimes your progress work. So it's also good showing your growth. But put your progress, put your work on there and show people what you can do. Under each thing, put a description, talk about the motivation for it. If it was a commissioned work, talk about that as well, and the client brief behind it. When you have that, and you have it consolidated in a place, you could also have a post telling people what you can do, and showing them and telling them, okay, you are into manga, for example, or you're into illustration of this sort of thing, or you're interested in animation projects, and these are the works you've done so far, and you're open for commissioning, and you are able to, just tell them what you can do, and then maybe put a bit of your personality in there. What that then does is that it makes it easier to have conversations with people about what you can do. So if I was to introduce him to somebody who works in the animation space, I could say, hi, this is a guy who I've seen, I think you should meet. Here's his portfolio and what he can do. I think you guys should have a conversation. Before the conversation happens, or if the person, for the person to decide if they want to have the conversation, they can then look at his portfolio or her portfolio and then say, okay, this is interesting, and then contact them that way, and then be able to ask questions about the work that they've done. Some other things to bear in mind in a portfolio as well, I would say keep it clean in terms of language. So no swearing, that sort of thing, because you might have different audiences. Some people are cool with that, many people may not be. So just to make it easier, just keep it clean. Also, keep your grammar good as well. So I would say use a service like Grammarly, for example, just to check your grammar and punctuation, to make sure that you're writing in a way that doesn't put people off, particularly if you have maybe spelling errors that could have been checked or avoided. So try that. Okay, Aura from the future here. I wanted to just tell you a bit more about creating portfolios. So if you were thinking of the mechanics of actually going about doing it, I'll suggest a few things. One could be you create a nice, beautiful portfolio website using a website such as Wix or Squarespace, for example. They've got good templates there. Or what you could do is work with a simple Google Drive folder. So you could create a Google Drive folder that has your name and says, I don't know, David's portfolio or Aura's portfolio. Inside it, you could have documents which have the portfolio items you want to share with people. So if it's a picture or if there are many pieces of artwork, what you could do is take the pictures, put them in, you could put the pictures there and then put a document next to the picture explaining what it is, or just copy the picture into a Google Doc. And under it, just put the motivation for the picture. So maybe a client requested you to do it. You could say what the client brief was, and then go ahead and describe your process in creating it. But you don't need too many words, just something to just let the person know what you're doing. Google Drive just gives you that simple way of doing it. And if you don't want to use Google Drive, you could also use potentially an Instagram profile where you just have it dedicated to your artwork or whatever it is you're trying to showcase, and have it there. And under each picture or video or whatever it is, make sure you put a bit of a caption just explaining what the piece of work was. For example, was it commissioned, and the motivation for doing it, and your thought process in getting it done. But again, it doesn't have to be too many words, just something that shows off your work. And then go ahead and just put your best work out there, and you can direct people to go see what you can do. Once that's done, the next stage would then be to think of a strategy of how do you go about contacting people who could need your services. So once you have that portfolio all done and ready, you could then make a list of people. Even before you start making a list, you could actually think of the kind of people that would be interested in the work that you're about to put out and the work that you can do. Let's say for this guy, for example, we could then talk about, we could look at animation studios, for example. So animation studios may be producers, maybe, well, if you could look at production companies, you could look at record labels for designing CD covers, well, not CD covers, for designing album art. Nobody uses, well, not many people use CDs anymore. But yeah, so write a list of types or kinds of people or kinds of organizations that could use your product. And then a good tip would then be to look for the job titles that could be searching for this. So maybe go on Google or LinkedIn and find out about jobs, find postings for jobs where people are requesting your sort of service. Once you find that, try and see if they mention anything like person you would be reporting to, or if the title of the person who needs the work done is put there. You can then reverse engineer that. So take those titles and then go into LinkedIn and find people with those titles and then contact them directly. So send them a LinkedIn message. You can either buy credits to do that, or you could send a connection request. But when sending a connection request, particularly on mobile, make sure you do it in desktop mode, because then you'll be able to add a message. And in that message, you want to tell them that just introduce yourself and say, hi, my name is this, I do graphic design, and I wanted to speak to you to see if there's any work I could do to help you with your design needs for any projects you may have. That sort of thing. Now, the beautiful thing about putting it in there is that you've put it up front. Even if they don't accept the request at that point, it then means in future, if they do need that service, they know they can just go into their LinkedIn mail and find that information. You can also once you find people, you could then reverse engineer again. So find the people who have those job titles that could be hiring for the kind of things you want. Then find the websites of the companies those people work for and see if you can figure out the email pattern. So is it maybe first name initial dot last name at company website.com? So for example, maybe a.david at greatanimation.com, something like that. If you can figure out what the email address is, or if you find a general contact email on the website, you could use that as well. But then you can contact them. Again, similar message saying, hi, this is my name, this is what I do. I wanted to see if I might be able to help you with any of your business needs along the lines of what I do. So along the lines of design or that sort of thing. Now you do that, and it's going to be a numbers game, right? Not everybody you send a message to will respond, but if you send to enough people, you will get somebody responding, even if it's just someone accepting your connection request. If it's somebody saying, okay, tell me more. And also, it would be good to make sure that on your profile on LinkedIn, you include a link to your portfolio. That would be important. You could also, in your emails as well, put links to your portfolio. That way, people can go straight there and they can consider it even before they speak to you. That would be very, very important. And just to make sure that there's a trail or a way they can come back to you and find the work that you do. And also keep updating your portfolio as you go along. But yeah, that's what I would do in terms of getting jobs or getting gigs in a particular area, particularly in the creative field or in the spaces where you can show your work. Create a portfolio that you can show people, which illustrates what you can do, and then create a strategy for then contacting people about those things. This sort of advice is something that I think I would have appreciated having when I was a lot younger. You can check out some of my other videos as well, which talk about things like skill stacking, and over time I'm going to be looking at skills that you can build on for particular careers and to be able to do particular jobs. So far I've covered being a data analyst and I've covered being a voiceover artist. But yes, you can check out the videos on my channel. You can also check out the video here that turns up. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already to see more videos like this. Alright, I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. Bye.
Yeah, hope that helps you. Really. I'll catch you in the next video. Take care. Bye.